Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of Love After Lockup. This is episode 11, Visits and Violation. First, let's start off with what's on my lips, because I know someone is going to ask me. This is the Lip Bar, which is a black girl beauty brand. I found it at Target, and I don't know how much it retails for, and the color is Rebel. This lip color was so cute, and I messed it up with the eyes. Anyways, for those of you who are not following me on Instagram, you should follow me on Instagram, and you should also give this video a thumbs up so that everybody who enjoys Love After Lockup that comes to YouTube can find my video. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, so let's jump right into this episode. So because it's fresh in my mind, let's talk about the throuple. That is Megan, not Marco, Michael, and Sarah. All right, so we have Michael at the Rochester airport going to pick up Megan. She is so excited. She sees him and she's like, babe. You know, she just loves Michael so much and thinks that they're meant to be together. This girl has bought a one-way ticket to New York so that she could find a job and a place to live and figure out her life, that she is going to move forward with Michael. Meanwhile, Michael has the plans of letting her go. He has spoken with his mother and she says you need to let her go, and Michael has agreed. But Michael says that it's in his mind to let Megan go, but it's not in his heart. And he's real confused about the entire situation. And it turns out that Michael has a 5-hour window to see his parole officer. And he says to her, babe, I gotta tell you something. And she's like, what, babe? And he's like, I gotta go see my PO. So they hightail it to the parole officer because I believe they have like 45 minutes to get there. And Megan puts in the wrong address in the GPS. She doesn't double check it, triple check it. She's not me. So she didn't do her due diligence to make sure she was going to the correct spot, because had it been me, I would have been pissed that he didn't go beforehand, and or I would have been pissed that we're on such a time crunch. Girl, what if something happens? So she puts it in the wrong address. They're driving around. They get close to the spot and Michael's like, this does not look familiar. He's smoking a cigarette like he's an old uncle smoking Newports. I'm just like, you too young to be like, light me up that cigarette in that whatever old uncle car with a Newport. Talking about light me a cigarette. I wish somebody would ask me to light them a cigarette. I mean, like, no, you're not smoking in this car with me. I mean, there's just so much I wouldn't do. And you guys, Megan is not about that life. I've said it so much. She's not about this life dealing with Michael and his shenanigans. So they pull over and they have to talk to a producer because they're like, we're trying to get to this address. And the producer's like, no, you've put in the wrong address. Like, this is the address for Saratoga or whatever. I don't know, girl. Something with a C and long and like used to be Native American names. You know what I'm saying? Old upstate New York, which used to be the Mohawk territory, but we won't go into that right now. Michael is doing all that he can, and they have added some sound effects to let us believe that he is swerving and dipping and diving, and Megan is scared in the car because she is driving. However, he wants to drive in order to get there on time, and he is 10 minutes late. And the PO and the officers roll up on him like nothing that Megan has ever seen in her life. She feels violated. They've gone through her stuff. They've pulled him out of the car telling him that he wasn't supposed to be driving, and he's 10 minutes late. It turns out this is his second time being late, so they have a little conversation with him, and they're just like, basically, look, we can't let this slide. You have been late twice and you need to do some time. So he's just like, okay. Now this is the part that pisses me off. Inmates' lives don't matter. They tell Megan that he is the property of the state, that he's on parole and he belongs to them. That sounds like fucking slavery, and it triggered me. That attitude and that mentality, he belongs to the state? I don't like it. 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 As a descendant of American slavery, I am offended. So Megan feels real violated. And I tell you, she not about that life. Because if she was about the life, she would have expected this. I wrote somebody in prison and I could tell the way that they treat inmates and the way that they treat inmates' family is just so extra and uncalled for. They do not give a fuck about the family or anyone around that person. They are trying to intimidate all parties involved. And it really shows you another side of our judicial system. It shows you another side of our prison system. That's all I have to say. Megan's real upset, but she says that she can't cry any more tears, and so she's back at the hotel, and his family ends up finding out, his mother Carolyn and Sarah, what happens to him. And this whole time, the PO is calling Sarah, and Sarah's calling Michael, and Michael's not picking up the phone. I guess he's just trying to keep it from her that he's gonna be late and doesn't want to tell her why, but mom knows why. Carolyn knows why. So later on, Carolyn shows up at Megan's hotel room, and this confrontation or this conversation between them two is so weird and producer set up at the same time. Like, Carolyn came there ready with her monologue and she was gonna say all that she needed to say, and when Megan had questions And response is, Carolyn wasn't prepared for that. I don't also think she was prepared for how like nice and sweet Megan was gonna be. Megan?
Hey, yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Carolyn.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm Michael's mother. I met you that one time on FaceTime that one time.
Yeah.
My son let me know where you was, and I felt like it was up to me to come and let you know that my son has been arrested. He'll be away for the next 4 months, and that's all I got to say.
All right. Do you know where he's going?
Sorry, I have nothing. I know nothing.
Oh, well, do you know where
I don't have anything else.
Nothing?
I'm sure he'll get in contact with you or whatever, but that's all I know. So.
All right. Thank you. So, can I give you a hug?
Yes.
Sorry.
Try to get as much sleep as I am, which is none. I'm not telling Sarah nothing about Megan. That's for him to do. All I did was came up here and inform her of something she needed to know, and now she can go. So after Megan finds out the news about Michael, she's like, look, I've waited 2 years. I can wait 4 more months. It's nothing. And she says that she's going to go home and she's going to tell her family, and she doesn't care what they say. Even though they're going to say, I told you so, she does not care. She is holding it down for Michael and she is living her dream. This would be a nice time to cut it clean and move on, but I think she kind of blames herself for the fact that he was late, even though like low key, if he had a 5-hour window, why couldn't he go see his PO before he came to see her? Or why couldn't he tell her, I have to see my PO, you're going to have to wait around for a little bit? Something. There was a remedy to that problem, and Michael messed that whole situation up. The next day, Sarah's sitting at the table having a conversation with Aviana, and she says, you know who's coming? And Aviana's like, Daddy. And she's like, no, Daddy's not coming. Daddy won't be around for a while. He's at work. I just wish that she would come up with another excuse as to why he's not there, because then she's gonna have negative connotations with work, because her dad's gone to work and he'll be gone to work for 4 months. I mean, maybe she won't understand time, maybe she's too young. Anyways, that's a whole other situation. So Sarah is very over it. She doesn't understand why he was late. She's taken him to his parole visits every other time, and she always made sure he got there, and that this 5-hour window, makes it so that he does not need to be late because he has a long time to get there. And why would he cut it down to the wire? Why would he go at the very last second? Does not make any sense. So Carolyn is like trying to calm Sarah down because she knows what really happened. She doesn't know because she didn't ask Megan what went down, but she blames Megan low-key for the fact that Michael was late. But no one is to blame but Michael. And his sister is really disappointed too. She's just like, I don't understand. These people tell him he needs to be here at this time. Why can't he just do that? This has happened again and again and again, and it just feels like Michael doesn't care. It's like, you know what you're supposed to do. Just do what you're supposed to do. It feels like they get him, and then in a couple months later, he does something he's not supposed to do, and they just send his ass back to prison. And they are tired of him. But Mom is still holding out. Mom is trying to get Sarah to hold out too. Sarah just needs to hold on this one more time, and when he gets out, he's gonna do what he says he's gonna do. He's gonna be the man and be the dad that he's supposed to be. And Sarah's not too sure about right now. She's pissed. She says she has 120 days to get over it, and she'll figure it out when that time comes. This has been Sarah's life for the last 6 years, and she's pregnant with her second child. I can't even imagine. I wouldn't even put up with this. Obviously I wouldn't be in this situation, but you know. All right, so let's move on to the next couple. Real quick, let's talk about Britt and Marcelino. So we come hot off the heels of the fight at Marcelino's 40th birthday party, and it says that it's 3 months now that she's been out of prison. Not sure what the distance between the birthday party and this event, but they're at the park with Giovanni. And it says this is his first time being able to sleep over at the house. So they're really excited. And Marcelino is playing with Giovanni. And he says that Giovanni is such a delight. And he takes being a stepfather very seriously. And then he's like, I'm going to get you. And then I want hugs and kisses. And I was a little bit like, And then Giovanni called Marcelino daddy. And I was just a little bit like, you know what I'm saying? It was like, if Tito wasn't in Giovanni's life, I could see that being a thing. But maybe I'm just a little bit conservative when it comes to that. It was a little weird for me. But I don't have kids. I certainly don't have a step parent or situation in my life. I just felt like it was a little too soon for Marcelino to be asking for hugs and kisses. Maybe some hugs, you know what I'm saying? I'm just skeptical. I've watched too many Lifetime television for women movies, you know, in the 90s about men moving in with women and then taking advantage of their children to be safe with this, you know. Also, Where the Heart Grows, girl, that movie got me. It seems sweet on the surface, so I'm gonna take it for what it is. Brittany's still kind of worried because she has to tell Marcelino that she's pregnant, and she takes him back to their apartment, which they finally got an apartment, but it has like brick walls, which I'm not so much into. Maybe if they were actually brick colored and not gray. And then there's a great little shot of Marcelino looking good from the 90s and his hair all flowing like a lion's mane in the background. If you clocked it, you clocked it, you feel me? She tells Marcelino that she's pregnant, and they like bait us to make us believe that he might be upset with it, but he's very excited about it. He feels like, you know what, it is what it is. He's gonna marry Brittany. And Brittany is really focused on her family at this moment. She's not dealing with Amanda anymore and not trying to make a friendship with Amanda work, even though what she wanted from Amanda wasn't a friendship, girl. We all saw it. But she says that she's now just focused on the family, which is what she should be focused on, you know, because all of that inmate stuff is just going to get her caught up again. And so I think Marcelino was right in that respect. She really didn't need to be with, like, Amanda in that situation. Like, maybe Bunky, because Bunky seems chill, but, like, the rest of them bitches can go. So she tells him, he's excited, and then he's like, go get the pregnancy test. And so I guess she goes to the bathroom out the trash can and gets it out, and he wants to know if it's a boy or a girl, and she's like, it's not gonna tell you the sex of the baby. And he's like, I bet it's a boy. And I'm just like, the misogyny begins. I hope it's a girl so he could learn to love women. Okay, so that is the end of them. Let's move on to our next couple. Our next couple is Caitlyn and Matt, and this again was very heartbreaking. You guys remember that Caitlyn's mother passed away, and Caitlyn's having a really hard time managing it because she had such an estranged relationship with her mother, and a lot has been going on. The first 3 or 4 days after finding out that her mother passed away, Matt was everything that she needed him to be, but then at some point he just kind of got over her grief, and she felt like he wasn't there for her anymore. So they're sitting down and having like a big breakfast, or at least Matt is having a big breakfast that his mother has cooked. Looks like some tater tots, some bacon, just look like things that I would like to eat right now. Kathy, I think her name is trying to be nice to Caitlyn. Obviously, Caitlyn has a job now, so I think everything is good. She asked Caitlyn if Caitlyn wants something to eat, and she's like, no, I'm actually gonna go to the grocery store, you know. She's a little frustrated with Matt because she's asked Matt to put something in her trunk so that when she's ready to go, she can just take off and leave, but Matt hasn't done it because, you know, he's Matt. He wants to do things when he wants to do it, and he felt no rush or need to get it done. Kathy is trying to tell them that they need to love each other through this time. She says that Matt has never had a girlfriend, so it seems like she's seeing that Matt just doesn't know how to be in a relationship and doesn't know how to love someone else because he's extremely selfish. Matt also talks about the fact that his father died, and when he died, he didn't have a good relationship with him either. The difference is that Caitlyn seems to be way more upset than he was because he was in prison when it happened, so whatever. Matt is so detached from his emotions. He doesn't want to have emotions, and he hates everything, including his mother, but he will eat her food. So the mother is really concerned about their relationship because she thinks that if they didn't have each other, then they would be having a really hard time right now. And I think that's absolutely true, except for if Caitlyn didn't have Matt, she would be back at her mother's place because she was living with her mother, and her mother told her to leave because she chose Matt. And so she chose Matt, and then when she saw her mother with Matt, she acted up, and now her mother is gone. So Caitlyn is going through the gambit of emotions, and I 100% feel for her, and my heart goes out to her. So later on, he finally puts the thing in her car, and she tries to have a conversation with him, and she's like, look, I just need you to have compassion. I just need you to be understanding. And he's like, yeah, great, I am understanding, but I just need you to not have an attitude all the time. And she's like, great, great. And he's like, yeah, fine. And I'm just like, Matt just does not understand emotions. He just doesn't get it. He has no understanding. I don't know if this is the next day, but the next scene we have with them, they are at the funeral home picking up the ashes, and she's speaking with the grief counselor, who's been really great for her and great with her about this whole situation, and she's just trying to cope through some emotions. And the grief counselor tries to talk to them a little bit about their relationship and how Matt could help her grieve. Caitlyn tells the grieving counselor that she needs somebody who's understanding, who's respectful to her, and who has patience with her, and who loves her. And Matt is just like, I have all those things, except for when she has an attitude, it makes me mad. And I'm just like, then you don't have those things. When they start to talk about those things, he gets mad upset because he says he didn't come there for a counseling session on their relationship, and he wishes they didn't always have to talk about their relationship. So he gets up and leaves. So that gets her upset, and she's just trying to talk to the counselor, and the counselor's basically like, look, girl, the things that he learned in prison in order to cope is stopping him from loving you the way you need to be loved. And I think you just need to let that go. and you need to understand that he's not in a place to give you what you want. Then Matt comes back in and she's upset and she gets up and she walks around the like funeral home and she like sits in another area because she doesn't want to sit with him, and he keeps saying the same thing. Like, she's being a bitch and she's doing this and she's doing this to me, and that's why I can't love her. That's why I can't do the things that I need to do for her, because she's doing this. And it's like the overarching thing is like, she's going through a crazy situation, Matt, so no matter what she throws at you, you have to take it and throw love back at her. And then he tells her to pipe down, and that's when she can't even handle it anymore. She just gets up and she's like, he might as well have told me to shut up, bitch. And I'm like, yeah, he did. He might as well did. Pipe down, girl. Like, who? I have a job. Pipe down nothing. Yeah, the last thing Matt says is if she treat him okay, he'd be there for her. So it's contingent upon her treating him a certain way, which is hard when you're grieving. So that is the end of their segment, girl. Let's move on to Clint and Tracy. My favorite. All right, so Clint has picked up his cousin Brady, who is like, I mean, when you hear Brady's voice, all you think of is a toothless person with overalls and like a piece of wheat coming out of their mouth, and then like laying back on the porch in a rocking chair with no shoes on. Clint is going to the prison to see Tracy because he gets an opportunity to see her at this time. Clint says that Tracy left him 2 days into their marriage for her addiction, but that he doesn't care because she loves him and she doesn't want to break up, and that she's okay and she's safe. So he's willing to wait for her however long. Worst case scenario is 20 years. Best case scenario is, I think, 4 weeks. It all sounds crazy to me. And Brady is just like, I tried to tell him to stop dealing with her, but he didn't want to listen to me. Especially when he comes around crying and bitching. Then I'm just like, you know how this is gonna all end? Leave her. Brady is not prepared to be on camera, nor does he care. He is slouching on gas, money, mileage, lawyer fees, visits. He's like, and Clint's like, yeah, I'm willing to go through all of that for her. I'm willing to do that for Tracy because she's my goddess and I love her. Tracy, I love you! So they're driving to the prison and he gets a call from Paul, the lawyer, and the lawyer tells him he will not be able to see Tracy, and he's very upset. He pulls the car over and he starts hitting things and kicking stuff, and he's very upset. I'm in an accent right now. I'm just gonna stay in that accent so that it's easier for me to tell this story to y'all. And he's like, so upset because his goddess, he can't see her. He was under the impression that he was gonna be able to see his goddess, and he can't. He's so upset about it. Tracy, I'm here for you, darling. I love you. Wherever, I'm your husband, Clint. Tracy has been arrested 2 times since she's been out of prison. And this is what I found out, that when you are in federal prison, there is no parole. So when she was free, she just went buck wild. I mean, she stole a car, probably chopped it up and got the monies from it, because we don't know how long she was on a bender, but we do know she got arrested twice. Shit's crazy. Clint says that he's gonna stick with Tracy because he needs her to know that there are men out there who are gonna stick with her through thick and thin, and he's one of them. Poor Alice, girl. Poor Alice. Okay, so the last couple that we're going to talk about is Lizzie and Scott. Lizzie, girl. Lizzie Scott and Jasmine are still actually living in the hotel, and it's a lot for Lizzie. She feels like she has just been surrounded by those people for the last 2 weeks, so she needed a little bit of girl time with her girl, Mel. She goes out to meet Mel. I think she gets dropped off, girl. I don't know, was that an Uber? Did Scott drop her off? I was confused. She gets dropped off, and she meets up with Mel, and they give each other a big hug, and then they go shopping in this boutique, girl, and you know boutiques are expensive. Mel says to her, you know, so what's up with you? And Lizzie's like, I don't know what's up with me. What's up with you? There's nothing that much up with me. Yeah! Mel is like, oh, okay. I mean, I just got out of prison and I don't know that I would be ready to date anybody. And Lizzie's engaged. And Lizzie's like, yes, I said yes to the engagement to Scott because I love him. And Mel's like, well, isn't he kind of a trick? And she's like, no, not anymore. He was a trick. Now he's my boyfriend. Fiance, or whatever. So they proceed to pull out clothes, to try stuff on. Lizzie offers to purchase clothing for Mel because she says that Scott gave her his credit card. This is the first time that he's trusted her with the credit card, and so she wants to do right by him. So they try on a bunch of clothes, girl, and at the end, they get to the register, and they're like, thank you, Scott. Oh my God, thanks, Scott. Scott's the greatest. Oh, thank you, Scott. And the price turns out to be like $1,900, girl. She spends $2,000 at this boutique because Scott said that he would give her whatever she wants. And he didn't give her a limit on the credit card. He didn't tell her an amount. So she's just like, I'm doing whatever. And Mel's like, don't you think you're taking advantage of him a little bit? And she's like, no, he's so generous. He just wants to give it to me and give. And like, am I supposed to say no? What? I'm not using Scott. He doesn't even want anything from me. All he wants is like to hold hands and like a peck on the cheek. And then we're drawn back to that horrendous kiss that like was so disgusting. We're pulled back into that moment in our lives and we feel it was uncalled for, because if all Scott wanted was a peck on the cheek, what the fuck was that? So Mel is just like, okay, thanks, Scott. So Lizzie gets back to the hotel. Jasmine just went on a run. Jasmine walks up and says hello to Mel. And then when she sees that Lizzie has bought clothes, and then Lizzie has the audacity to show Jasmine the amount on the receipt, like Jasmine's like, what? And Mel's like, bye, gotta go. Mel runs out of there so quick when she realizes that Jasmine's about to go off on Lizzie. Jasmine is like, why are you using this man for his money? Why did you take advantage of this? Like, we're already staying in a hotel and you spent $2,000 on clothes you don't need? Mom, like, ugh, she's so frustrated at her mom for getting just more and more debt to Scott and using him, and she sees it and she hates it. She's just like so mad at her mom. To the point where she walks away and like flips her off and says like, F you. Lizzie is indignant. She's like, oh, Jasmine, come back here. Wait, Jasmine. Like, she literally does not get it. She doesn't get that she's taking advantage of this person. Just because someone says you can spend whatever doesn't mean that you should, especially if they're not flying you around in private jets. Like, this person does not have enough money for you. You think that he's living the way he's living and you guys are staying in a hotel, a cheap ass hotel, because he has all this money? Does it make sense? I mean, she just doesn't understand money. It's been 10 years. She just doesn't understand money. She's like, it's been 10 years. Why shouldn't I do something that makes me happy? And spending $2,000 makes me happy. It's like she doesn't understand how money works anymore. He's not a drug dealer. Meanwhile, Scott is having a conversation with his best friend Charlene of 10 years, who is just over this whole entire situation. And he tells her that he's in debt, he's fucked up his credit, and that he has no money. And she's just like, what are you telling me, Scott? And he's just like, yeah, that's just the cold hard truth of it. But I'm worried if I tell Lizzie that I don't have any money, that she's gonna choose Jasmine over me. And that's where I'm just like, Scott, she should choose Jasmine over you. She should choose herself over you. Oh, girl, it's too much. Scott, he just stresses me out. Like, he stresses me out, it's too much. Up until 18 months ago, I used to play with myself every day. I used to square off every day, and once I got saved, I stopped all of that. I'm not a sexual being anymore, and I've changed my ways. I used to use Scott for his money. I was a gold digger. But I can't use him anymore, because I love him. They say leopards never change their spots, but I was never a leopard. Now, I'm like, was this fed to her? It couldn't have been, because the first part was just all her just saying it off the cuff. It was not chopped up together. Just like, all right, you guys, so that is the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up. I know you liked it. I know you had fun. Share with your friends, and go on ahead and follow me on Instagram. Also, don't forget to check out these lovely ladies and their Love After Lockup reviews. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.